Alright, I want to talk about a slight struggle even I faced when I started filming is, should I buy a better camera or should I buy better equipment per se? And what I mean is, should I buy a better microphone? Should I buy a better lens? Should I buy a Ronin? What should I do? So I'm just going to break down a few things that made it easier for me to make my decision. Now, when I started out, I was using a Nikon, a D50-600, and honestly, of course we all know Nikon's bad for video. I had bought it for shooting photos, I enjoyed photography, and then I started getting interested in filmmaking. So I was using my Nikon, and of course, can't even comment on Nikon's quality when it comes to video. See, even the thought just makes me feel depressed. Anyways, moving on. Alright, so I was thinking of buying a Ronin. Now, of course, the price between a Ronin and a good camera is quite a bit. The Ronin would be much cheaper to buy. And then I was like, or should I buy like a really good camera? Probably you're facing this dilemma as the reason you're watching this video. So what I did is I decided to go for better equipment. Now the reason being is, if I would have to buy a new camera setup, alright, I would obviously switch to Canon or Sony. And those are all pretty steep when it comes to price, and if you're on a budget especially. And then I didn't want any kit lenses, obviously, because kit lenses are good, but once you reach a certain level, you want to up your game. And I already had my Nikon stuff, my kit lenses and whatnot, so I was thinking of going for the 90D and some the 24-70mm, and of course we all know the Canon L series lenses they'll burn a hole in your pocket, let's just put it that way. So I decided to stick to better equipment. So what I did is I went and I bought a 35mm f1.8 Nikon lens. I bought a Rode shotgun mic, I bought a couple of lav mics, I bought a light, I bought some tripods, and the biggest investment was my Ronin. I ended up buying the Ronin SC Pro. And you know what? The thing is, let me set this down. The reason I stuck with the Ronin is because I figured that if I can improve, now Ronin is something that you will need, alright? A gimbal is something you will eventually need as a filmmaker. It's a must-have piece of part of your equipment. You've got to own a gimbal at some point to get those smooth, stable shots no matter what you're using. A gimbal always is required as part of your kit. Now, so the reason I bought the Ronin is because, one, I knew that I would need a gimbal at some point, right? Whether I'm buying a good camera now or later, I would eventually need a gimbal. Second reason is I already had a decent camera. I shot 1080-60. Of course, the focusing was horrible. I figured, well, I guess I'll just have to learn to manual focus my shots and whatnot. So I stuck to using Nikon, all right? And I used the f1.8, so that gave great depth of field, nice cinematic looking shots. And with the gimbal on it, I was able to get stable shots as well. So I was able to get a decent balance of good footage, good audio, good shots, you know? So if you start exploding to another universe, with like saying, all right, I need like this high-end camera, and you end up buying the camera and the kit lens, I don't know how beneficial that is, honestly. So you start with what you have, expand it till it can't be expanded anymore, and then move on to the next item, right? So that's how it works. So make sure that you expand as much as you can with what you have. So if you're shooting on like a low-end Nikon, low-end Canon, use it, because for some of us, buying a new camera can be an expense. We can't just blow away money on buying a new camera. This is not for if you're a beginner. If you're a beginner, I would suggest sticking with a low-end camera and just learning the basics first, rather than blowing your money on like a 5D Mark IV or something. So start small and expand as you go. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.